I guess anyone could label this the war of words or the war of tweets, however you want to label this situation. Apparently, DJ Metcalf and Shannon Sharpe was on social media going back and forth and back, insulting one another in this Twitter war. Basically, Shannon Sharpe, who instigated it and started it, sent a tweet that DJ Metcalf is selfish. He plays too much hero ball, and he lets his pride get in the way, which DJ Metcalf responded, calling Shannon Sharpe washed up, insulting Shannon Sharpe, and basically calling him an instigator. Shannon Sharpe responded, talking about his achievements, his accolades. Even though DJ Metcalf has only been in the NFL 2 years, that's a real good way to prove you're right. I mean, even though Shannon Sharpe is decorated, he's heavily decorated. He spent 10 plus years in the NFL, won multiple Super Bowls, have a lot of individual achievements, also spent over 10 years in broadcasting, has a lot of awards, and a lot of his resume speaks for itself. But just because your resume speaks for yourself doesn't necessarily mean you know the ins and outs, what's transpiring, what's going on with that particular football team, that particular coach, that particular quarterback, and their system. You may have some idea of what they're trying to do, but Shannon Sharpe does have the right to critique and analyze plays and players. Okay, but I feel like Shannon Sharpe takes it a little bit too far, and sometimes jokingly or insulting a player's character and ability. But I'm just going to move on. So DJ Metcalf responded, all your accolades and achievements, I can wipe it with my you know what. And that pretty much ended the Twitter beef. Not beef, but a lot of people on social media saying Shannon Sharpe won. A lot of people are saying DJ Metcalf won. You have to take that with a grain of salt, and you have to check the source. A lot of people that assume one or the other one are either fans of one or the other, colleagues of one or the other, and you just got to check the source or the credentials. Now, it'd be one thing if Shannon Sharpe, when he was going back and forth with DJ Metcalf, was basically letting him know that he has a source that said yada 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 about this, about DJ Metcalf in the training camp or in the weight room or on the practice field. Former or current players have mentioned this about DJ Metcalf, that he's this, he's that. It'd be one thing if he had that type of info, but this is just basically, personal gripes and personal attacks, and there's no real info behind this Twitter beef between him and DJ Metcalf. The one thing I want to let everyone know is social media is a gift and a curse. I feel like social media is the beginning and the end of a lot of celebrities, a lot of athletes, and yes, a lot of broadcasters. Social media, even though you gain tons of followers, even though you get tons of tweets and tons of likes and retweets and things of that nature, social media really doesn't mean a hill of beans when it comes to the real world. You can't use social media as a metric or a reason for your opinion or fact checking or making your job a lot better by going on social media. Now, you could Google, you could go, find out how other people feel about a certain athlete or personality or entertainer who worked, former or current people that worked around this person, and then you can form your opinion and form your version of the truth that way. However, you can't do that on social media, and I feel like people take social media way too serious. Okay. So let's talk about DJ Metcalf. A lot of people also thought that, he didn't, Shannon Sharpe never once put DJ Metcalf's name or linked his tweets directed to DJ Metcalf, but he did use DK, and we all know what that stands for. And a lot of fans of DJ Metcalf probably did the following: sent the tweet to DJ Metcalf, and DJ Metcalf just went over the edge about the tweet, because in his opinion, he feels like there's no substance in the tweet. I don't know. I can't speak for Shannon Sharpe. Maybe he knows something that we don't know. Maybe someone has told him something that we don't know. But Shannon Sharpe is no stranger to these Twitter wars, these Twitter beefs. He was going back and forth with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Antonio Brown. He has gone back and forth with several people. And like I said in a lot of videos, I feel like Shannon Sharpe on social media is golden. It's just golden entertainment. However, I just don't see how social media, how you can equate your popularity on social media as far as getting an extension with Fox Sports 1 or getting a contract that's on par with Skip Bayless or somewhat on par with Skip Bayless. Still to this day, Shannon Sharpe has not signed an extension with Fox Sports 1. And still to this day, all Shannon Sharpe do is stay on social media. And that's his prerogative. He can do whatever he wants to do. If that's what Shannon Sharpe wants to do, that's what Shannon Sharpe wants to do. But I feel like Shannon Sharpe spent a little bit of time on his contract extension. And this would shed a lot of light to a lot of people on why he hasn't gotten that extension. If you just read between the lines. But Shannon Sharpe, who's right, who's wrong? Unless Shannon Sharpe has something that he can bring to the table that has some type of substance or some type of proof, then I can co-sign to whatever Shannon Sharpe is saying. But if this is just back and forth Twitter beef, then I just don't see how, this applies. You can use Twitter beefs in real world applications like your workplace or anything. I just don't see what's the importance of Twitter and social media and apply it to real world factors. I will say this, DJ Metcalf is a receiver, and this has been said to the beginning of time. Receivers are divas. If you don't believe me, go do some research on T.O. Go do some research on Tim Brown. Go do some research on Jerry Rice. Go do some research on, Shannon Sharpe. Even though he played tight end, that's a receiver when it's all said and done. All receivers feel like they're open like 7-Eleven. They're open 24 hours a day. All receivers want the darn ball. If you don't believe me, go check out Keyshawn Johnson. A lot of these receivers think they're open all the time, and you have to feed their ego. If you do not feed their ego, they don't think they think that you think that they're not important to the team, and it causes friction in the locker room, particularly on the offensive side of things. Go check out Antonio Brown. Now, talented receivers, you have to put up with their ego. It's the name of the beast, and it's been done since the beginning of time, and it's not going to change anytime soon. You can't play under these circumstances, Shannon Sharpe, feeding the ball to you because you thought that you was open all the time, and now since you hung up the cleats and you put down the helmet and you become an analyst, now you critique the way how you was treated as a receiver. It doesn't, it doesn't fit. So it doesn't make sense, and you should know full darn well this is the mentality of a lot of receivers. You played that position. Don't say for 1 second that you was the type, you was just a good player and you just went You just went to the games, and if they gave you the ball, they gave you the ball. If they didn't give you the ball, you was fine with it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there has been plenty of time, Shannon Sharpe, where you complain about you getting opportunities with the ball. This happens with Michael Irvin. It happens to the best of the best. And if you're the best of the best, a lot of teams are going to put up with it. Because at the end of the day, the results matter. And if there's a bigger percentage when they force feed you the ball, meaning they get victories, meaning they are successful, then they're going to continue to do that. However, if you're not the best of the best, you just got to know your place. DJ Metcalf is one of the best of the best. He's only been in the league 2 years, and he's done some phenomenal things. So I think it's in the best interest of the franchise, it's the best interest of the coaching staff to, feed the beast. We used to call it feed the beast. I understand also where Shannon Sharpe is coming from. However, I just think that when you only got 120 characters on Twitter, you can't put your best foot forward when you critique a player. And you can't fall on the shield of, well, Fox Sports 1 pays me money to critique players and analyze players and share my thoughts and opinions about players, system, and football team because I used to be a player and now I'm a broadcaster, and these players today have to respect that. You can't disrespect somebody and then won't respect. It just does not go that way, okay? Normally when you disrespect people, people turn around and disrespect you. And with 120 characters on Twitter, he probably, if he would have had more characters, I'm pretty sure that he would put some insight to his belief about DJ Metcalf. It wouldn't sound so disrespectful, cold, and vicious. And I felt like at the end of the day, he knew what he was doing. He wanted this. He didn't tweet it to DJ Metcalf, but he put DK on it, letting his audience know that he's talking about DJ Metcalf. There's no way around it. You can't say I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about something else and this, that, and the third. I'm cool with you going on Twitter and having these Twitter battles with whoever, but you can't throw your hands up in the air and say I'm a victim. I have rights to critique these players. Fox Sports 1 pays me to do this. Fox Sports 1 pays you Fox Sports 1 pays you for your experience as a broadcaster and a top level athlete. And they also pay you for your thoughts and opinions on, particularly more so on the football side of things, because you used to play football on the highest level. You won championships. And they also pay you for your celebrity. Okay? When they feel like when you talk, people should listen. And that's for Fox Sports 1's benefit. You being popular on social media does not benefit Fox Sports 1. I'm going to keep saying it until my face turns red. I don't care how many followers someone has on Twitter, how many retweets, likes, this, that, and the third, how many times you tweet, how many times you post stuff on Instagram or Facebook. None of that stuff matters. And you can't use that stuff and apply that stuff to real world factors. Just because you have 100, I don't care if I don't know how many followers Shannon Sharpe has on Twitter, because I really don't follow too many people on Twitter. He could have 10 million followers. Doesn't mean a hill of beans in the grand scheme of things, particularly when you're trying to get a contract extension with Fox Sports 1. Fox Sports 1 does not care how many of those 10 million followers you have watch Fox Sports 1. Ultimately. And I feel like it's less than 10%. They don't care. They really don't care. And it doesn't translate into being successful as a journalist or an analyst or a broadcaster, or it doesn't even translate as being a player. It really doesn't. I feel like social media is a gift and it's a curse to a lot of players and a lot of analysts or personalities. And I feel like people overthink the importance of social media. There's a lot of good things about social media, but when it's all said and done, you can't apply real world factors to social media. Social media is not the place where you can figure out who's right and who's wrong. It just isn't. When you start talking about tweets and hashtags and there's no substance to your argument, particularly when you Google and research the facts or just look at the play itself and then you share your opinions about it, unless someone with some inside knowledge in that team is saying that to you, then all of this is just a bunch of back and forth on Twitter. And that's what basically this whole mess of chaos is. A lot of journalists and a lot of analysts and a lot of people on Twitter is talking about. But that's all I gotta say. I don't care about who won, who lost, because at the end of the day, it really doesn't mean nothing on social media. At the end of the day, you can't apply this to real world factors if you are an analyst or if you are a broadcaster or if you are a player on the highest level. You can't utilize none of this. And like I said, social media is a gift and a curse. So that's all I got for today's video. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.